I'm a very calm person in a storm, and in some ways, I kind of love a storm. Like I am not. I don't thrive in chaos. I like to calm chaos. Like for enabling people to be able to like work their way through. I love to problem solve. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I think that's like it does go back to being a sailor. Like the quote that I love is like, don't wait for the wind to change, adjust your own sails. So you have to find a path forward, and what is that path forward through whatever challenge it might be.
Welcome to Run It Back. I'm Alysia Montaño. Today, I'm joined by Stephanie Martin, president and owner of League One Volleyball San Francisco. Stephanie has spent over 25 years shaping brands, building global events, and working at the intersection of sport, culture, and business. Now, she's helping build something new in volleyball, one that connects youth, community, and the professional game in a completely different way. Stephanie, welcome to Run It Back.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I love
Welcome
it.
to Run It Back.
That was quite an intro.
Yes.
You're my new hype woman.
Let's go. Well, there's so much to know about you, actually. Can we just start with taking it back to your own introduction into sports and where you started?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like a lot of us who work in sports, I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. Started multi-sport and then ended up funneling into sailing. So I sailed in college and still compete today, which is one of the things I love most about our sport. And then I spent half of my career in retail and the other half in sports. So it's always been focusing on how do you create an amazing consumer experience. Those are the things that I love. In the past 15 years, I've been working in sport. I got to work on 3 incredible global sporting properties right here in the Bay Area. Super Bowl 50, the 34th America's Cup, and the Rugby World Cup that we had here. And I'm just so excited to be able to now work in volleyball, bring that to the Bay, get into this energy that is women's sports here and, take women's sports to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, you have the background for it. When you just sort of see yourself in the ecosystem of women's sports, what is something that you have always hoped to see that you're hoping to build now as the president and owner of League One Volleyball?
I think, one of the reasons why I wanted to join League One Volleyball in the first place was there was no blueprint. Like we had the opportunity to create a modern sports league for women that was actually built for women by women.
Yeah.
And so, as you know, like a lot of legacy leagues are not designed or purpose built for women as not just athletes, but women as humans. And so being able to work for a league where we've done that and we've laid a lot of that foundation. I was excited to be able to think about what could a franchise look like and a team where we can continue to build that, but also in a region of the country that truly cares about women's sports. And how could we use that as an accelerant?
We are in a very, very powerful place that really does appreciate elevating women's sports. And part of what you mentioned is like League One is building something different.
Yeah.
It's like the infrastructure first that is making women a priority.
Yes.
Which, hello, the time has been now.
Yes.
So it feels very special to be a part of that with you as part owner. And also connecting like the youth clubs to the pro level.
Yeah.
Why is that important to you?
Well, I think when you think about how you build something, we do need to think about how we're building for the next generation.
Yeah.
Like we can't just be building today. We have to be always thinking purpose built in how we're building. And I think, again, just another part that just makes League One different is you have youth and pro, side by side. Like we build practice facilities where pros are competing on courts and the court next to them are youth. And so you can actually see what you can be. And that is hugely powerful to be able to have that visual and for young girls to say, this is a pathway I never knew that was possible for me. And then to be encouraged by these pros that actually really want to engage with young people and enable them to see the strength they have in themselves. Because, if it's not a parent or a guardian, the coach is often the first person that inspires confidence in a young person and want to pursue athletics.
And that young person is my daughter. My daughter's so into volleyball. I'm looking through all the programs that could potentially help elevate her into that. And you're right. It's we've known for a very long time that women can be sports heroes too.
Yes.
And being able to create a landscape where we see it as athlete first, like women athlete first, and knowing that it starts with the young girl seeing herself in that space. When you think about the success of what that actually looks like beyond like attendance, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I think that long-term impact,
Yeah.
like that's what we're looking for is
For sure.
how do we create more access to the sport? How do we grow the sport? What's interesting, I didn't come from volleyball. So coming into it and knowing that it's the number one girls team sport in the country, you start to ask why and what is it about the sport that is connecting people? And I think what I love about it is it truly is about community in the way that I was sharing earlier with Britt that like what I loved about the sport is after every play you come together to either celebrate or lift your teammates up, and that is so unique in sport. So we are teaching young girls and young boys who also play that like there is a resilience that you build in, that it is okay to fail and pick yourself right back up again. That teamwork and collaboration are so important. And that celebration of every little moment is important. Like, don't wait for the big moments, celebrate as we go. So I love this sense of community that's built in and around the sport. And I think that's one of the things that's really connective about it.
Yeah. As a spectator, I'm someone, I dabble a little bit. I think that's the very fun part, like watching all the different cheers. I'm learning them all. My daughter's teaching me some of them. I get them wrong. She's like, that's not how it goes. I'm like, one, ace. What do you guys do at the end of that? But I think that's going to be really special to kind of watch, be on the sidelines and watch the community really coming together and rallying around the entire ecosystem of girls and women in sport. What still needs to happen behind the scenes to continue this momentum?
Well, I think for volleyball in particular, we want to give people the experience of it because it's one of those sports, once you see it live and in person, you get it. It's like volleyball, every play is a highlight. And so the power and the athleticism and giving these women the platform that they deserve because they are these types of athletes, I think that's really important. And then from an infrastructure standpoint, we really have to think about how are we building audience around it. And I think the way that we are doing it is grassroots up versus most leagues tend to be built top down. So we really have built this very strong community of youth organizations across the country where we can build that grassroots up. So as youth grow, they grow alongside the sport. And the same with our pros. They can all grow together. So I think we're at the very precipice of like what is possible because volleyball is exploding in college right now and then pro is the next level.
Yeah, pro is the spot where people can see themselves, but we still have to be thinking through like what does that whole relationship look like for the entire athlete. I was thinking through just you naming some of the things that we're doing different. If you were to just have a 3 bullet point playbook, what would you hand down to other leagues to make sure that they can like sort of copy that and continue the elevation of women's sports?
I think for us, it starts with knowing your community and what's important to it. So here in the Bay Area, it is about participation and enabling people to really feel part of something. So from day one, we have like, we're naming our team right now and we want people to participate and let us know what the team name could be and should be. So we're really trying to think about participation models in a way that most fans don't have the opportunity to interact with other sports leagues. So I'd say that's one. Also know your audience. So we know that our fan is 68% female. So we're a very different audience than other women's sports. So how do we build for her? And how do we build for her who's also a millennial mom? So really thinking about not just an experience for adults, but what's that experience for youth? And what is, a Gen Z, Gen Alpha experience look like? So we're also really focused on that component. And then I think what I love about women's sports is the storytelling piece. So fans really, really want to know about their athletes off the court. So it's really incumbent upon us, and I care deeply about athlete branding, that we help these women tell their stories and express themselves in ways that they're comfortable doing, but also really can help them take their brands to the next level. And having team and athlete brand going together, it's a rising tide that lifts all boats.
You just talked about just the importance of brand strategy and the athletes that are on the team are part of that brand strategy. What are some ways that you are helping elevate their stories and giving them a little bit of agency into being a part of the larger part of League One, but also making sure that, they get to own their individuality as part of this league.
And they get to have a real voice.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been thinking about our ownership in particular is very interesting, as you know. We have 32 Olympic medals across the board. And we've been thinking a lot about equity and what does equity mean. So we talk a lot in sport about gender equity. Yep. We've talked a lot about pay equity, and we believe the next level of equity is ownership. So really enabling athletes, both as owners and those that are participating on the team, to have a true seat at the table and a voice. So that means getting, Kelsey and I worked through what the uniform could look like. And so it's not just what does a color look like on you, but what's the shape? How do you feel confident in your uniform when you go out there that you can lay everything on the floor because you're not worried that when you put your arms up in the air, the jersey's going to rise up. It's things like that of really thinking through detail of a woman's experience and how do we incorporate it. And then when our athletes come, and I can't wait to announce our roster, we get to then work with each of them individually to ask them what's important to you. Where are you in your stage of brand building? How do you want to express yourself? For some people, it's through fashion and through tunnel walks. Through others, it's telling their own stories.
Excited for that.
Yeah, I am too. We have the best tunnel walks, so I can't wait. For others, it's connecting with their own community in the city, and we have incredibly diverse community. So being able to connect people into and start to build their own communities locally. So it really starts with sitting down and building a plan for them that's built for them with their voice.
It's a lot of listening.
Yes.
And authenticity.
Yes.
For you as president and owner, sometimes in different ways, the business side of things can jade people.
Sure.
How do you maintain authenticity and how do you stay true to your values?
I think I've always looked for an organization where it's purpose built.
Yeah.
And if we can also then attract people who are also really connected to the mission and the North Star, then that gets me excited.
Yeah.
I think you have to be very deliberate in how you hire. We have some incredible first hires that we are so mission aligned, and we're all rowing together already. It's the same with our ownership group.
Yep.
We've really been purposeful about who we've invited into the ownership group because that energy will all feed each other. Yes.
Feel very special.
I know. We have a special group of women.
We really do.
That's particularly true.
Yeah.
And I think you have to know, this is the PSA for anyone who wants to work in sports. You have to know this working in sports is really hard. Yeah. You can be a fan of sports and it looks wonderful from the outside, but it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of challenges. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, you miss holidays, the whole thing. You just have to know what it is and be fully committed to want to be part of that. And those who are, love it. For those that don't, think it's more about being a fan and being part of, fandom, that it's probably not the right fit for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it sounds like it's about culture. It's building a healthy culture. And you are leading, you're really leading the way. But in this space, and you're talking about the tough moments, what does leadership look like for you, and how does it actually feel in those moments, and how do you help realign when the tough stuff really feels really hard?
Yeah, I think for me, my not to use a sailing term, but I am very even keeled, and so
you are, yeah.
I'm a very calm person in a storm, and in some ways, I kind of love a storm. I am not. I don't thrive in chaos. I like to calm chaos. For enabling people to be able to work their way through, I love to problem solve. That's one of my favorite things to do, and I think that's it does go back to being a sailor. The quote that I love is don't wait for the wind to change, adjust your own sails. So you have to find a path forward, and what is that path forward through whatever challenge it might be. And I'm excited to be able to lead a great team of people and help unblock things for them, enable them to really shine in what they do and leverage their own personal strengths in an environment in places where they don't have that strength, how do we then resource them appropriately so that they can feel like, okay, I get to do my best work every single day.
Would you say you have a special skill for like seeing the storm as it's coming?
Probably, yeah. It's that see around corners is what they say. Like
I was trying to marry a little
yes,
sailing to
yeah,
that.
I like that. I definitely I can see like 3 steps ahead, and I think that's
Yeah.
like part of my my functional training as a
Yes.
communications and reputation management person is you always have to think 3 steps ahead. So that's where I live is I live in the future.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a special skill to have, especially as somebody who's, building a community and a leader in building the
Right.
community.
Right.
What are some hard lessons that you've learned along the way?
I think there's there's many, right? Like it's making sure that you are, I think, communicating up front with people and setting expectations. When I've been in organizations where communication has not been strong, you can see things fall apart pretty quickly. I think remote environments are really hard. And I'm really interested to see the research later in life on the impacts it's had on our ability to be efficient at work. And also I feel really badly for young people who started in an environment where they weren't learning from osmosis. So I think we really want to come together and have like a hybrid work environment where we can actually spend time together and work and plan. And everyone on our team's excited about that because you miss that human interaction because sport is so human.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much about human emotion, human connection. So I think those are a couple of things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, yeah, we are at this interesting point of hybrid work and what does it look like? Or is it 100% remote? Is it 100% in office? I definitely think flexible work is helpful for families.
Very much so.
But I'm also very much with the same mindset that with teamwork, it feels good to feel the energy of the team.
It does.
And, I can't pass it to nobody there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I love that sort of thought process on that. And when it comes to that, though, how do you support like the remote team to feel like they're also part of the team when you can't see them?
Yeah, so I think the way we're approaching it is we're all also adults. Like
Yes.
life happens,
Yeah.
and so if you have a tournament with your children and you need to fly on Friday, like we know your work's going to get done because we on the front end we've set that expectation that we want you to also like you have to live your life and your family has to come first.
Absolutely.
So it's that like knowing that we're all here for a purpose and we're going to get the things done that we need to get done. And if you can't, or if there's an issue, you raise your hand and it's okay to raise your hand.
It makes them feel safe to also talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to be, we really need to keep doors open. We need to make sure people have active listening and know that like, yes, like you're going to, my mom lives on the East Coast. I'm going to work from there and be with her at times. So we just have to know that this is a world where a rigid type of environment is not going to work. Like
Right.
we have to be able to morph with the life of our people and support them.
Yeah, you have to be flexible about it. But that makes so much sense because of what we're building at League One
Yes.
Volleyball San Francisco. It is about like human first.
Yes.
And that is why the league exists, so that can rewrite the rules and athletes have opportunities to be within their community and not be, moved around a ton and can build their families. It's something that Kelsey had talked about.
Yes.
A friend of mine, Carly, has also talked about and that care and what it looks like. And so it makes sense that you're also modeling that with how you run, the business side of things.
Yeah.
When you're doing the listening as a leader, what are some of the top things that come up when it comes to care for your employers and for the athletes?
I think we've done
Sorry, for your employees.
Employees.
What are the top things that come up for care for your employees and for your athletes?
for our staff and for our athletes.
Yes.
So I think active listening to me is like one of the most underrated skills you can have. And it's really, to me, that's one of the things that I value the most about my own skill set is I really pay attention to listening to people. So it's not only listening to like what they're saying, but also like their body language and how they're feeling and being able to do wellness checks and check in with people. So that's kind of a baseline. But I think we are trying to build an organization where people have input, and as you talked about earlier, agency, like they have agency and input into what we're building. So how we think about what their needs are, enable them to feel like they're in a safe space to ask questions, enable them to communicate what's important to them, like, and then also like enable people to raise your hand. Like when you work we're a startup. So like we're in that 0 to 0 stage. So there, you might have come in to do a certain job, but they might say, you know what, I actually really love this and I'd love to try this.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
And if you want to raise your hand for something, we would love that. So we want people to feel like they're really invested in it and that we're also listening to them. And then when it comes to our athletes, it's also understanding like the experiences they're going through, like enabling and supporting Kelsey coming back from having a baby.
Yeah.
Like that, it will be a full multi-year experience, right? So we want to make sure that it's not a linear thing, right? We really need to be listening to her, how she is doing in the moment. And as that shifts and morphs, we also have to be able to adjust to support her.
Much of like what we're talking about is seeing, like, not just like hoping to see change, but actually like building the change.
Yes.
And it's about the youth being able to see that too.
Yes.
When we're talking about just Kelsey and the legacy of the league, what do we hope that a young volleyball player, a young fan will see in the league?
I think like we know that very few people make it to the pro level or the elite level of anything in sport. So the most important thing are the life lessons they're going to take away.
Yeah.
So what are they learning through the experiences that they are having? How are we exposing them to more things? So it can't just be about sport. And our hope is we're going to build, programs with our different partners that actually engage them in ways that help them with their own agency.
Yeah.
So how do you start to build confidence in ownership? And ownership to us doesn't mean just a team. It means owning your own idea or like owning your boundaries, owning your ability to like want to pursue something. So if we can instill that through the experiences they have with us, then no matter what they do, if they only play volleyball for a year,
right,
they've taken away something that will impact them hopefully for life.
What are some of the youth programs that League One is running right now? And how do you think about access when it comes to youth athletes in sports?
That's a great question. So right now, one of the programs I love that we have is called Whole Athlete Training. And so it's the program I would have wanted when I was their age.
Yeah.
But it's not only things like teaching them about sleep and nutrition, the important things that you need to learn as you're 12, 13, 14, but it's talking about body image and talking about social media and the impacts of social media. So all of those things in their life that impact them off the court, we have modules on. So that has been to me like a pretty incredible, one of its kind program for youth. And then as we start to look at, as a new team coming into the Bay Area, we're building access programs from day one. So how do we enable more kids to come and see our sport, open up a lot of young people can't always make it to a sporting event because it's cost prohibitive.
Right.
So how are we creating access to every single match that we have? What are the clinics we're bringing out into the community? How are we working with schools or with Rec and Park to be able to create things?
Yeah.
And then I also really want us to do a lot of work with coaches and enabling us to help accelerate coaches and expose more women to becoming coaches, because I think the number's like 30% of college coaches are women. So how do we support that as a pathway too?
Yeah. Gosh, that is literally, we are hugging the entire community. And I really love that. That's what drew me to being an owner of the group, and helping shape the future of the sport in general. What excites you most about what's ahead?
I think I'm a builder at heart, so I love the opportunity to be creative. So I have like just right now, like I've loved the team name process because it's so fun to see all the.
Yes.
I get the names coming into my email every day, and I'm like, oh my, everybody's so creative here. So I've loved that process. But I think every time I talk to someone about it, like the excitement already for volleyball, like people really understand that this is a sport that they can get excited about. I had an incredible moment with Kelsey when we went to Ricky's in San Francisco, and it was one of our first watch parties, and she was there, and three guys who play adult rec came up to her, and they're like, "Kelsey, I can't believe you're here,"
Amazing.
and she's like, "How did they know who I am?" And I'm like, "Well, you're a 3-time Olympic
Yeah.
medalist, so they should." But
Yeah.
she was so just to see her light up because people not only understood the sport, but they understood her contribution to the sport. We can do that for all of our women, I'll be really thrilled.
100%.
So I think there's a lot of little things that I'm really excited about. But that was one of those moments where I'll tuck away in my heart for sure.
I love that. I was thinking through just all of the things that we're going to be able to do together. And I really appreciate the care that goes into thinking through how to elevate the sport, starting from the girls up, but also with the community and bringing them into it, having them be involved in one, naming the team, mascots.
Yes.
Are we thinking through that?
Oh, yeah.
And having them kind of have a vision of what that could look like. And I think also the storytelling of the owners is really awesome and important. And I think having so many people invested in this being like their own is new.
Yeah.
And thank you for thinking through it like that. I think it's exactly what we need.
Well, all of our owners have lived experiences that are so interesting, and especially coming from different sports, there are things that you love about your sport and also things that you don't.
Yeah.
So like, how do we learn from everyone who's gone before us? Obviously we're in an area with the Valkyries and BFC, and they're killing it.
Yeah.
So to see like where they've made real impact, but like, we had a great time at finals this week with like Abby Wambach and Julie Foudy and Allie Riley all did mic'd ups.
Yes, I love that.
And to hear their excitement around the sport, I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
These are women that really understand sport.
Yep.
And
I'm next. I want to do that too.
I know, I can't wait. And it was so exciting to see their excitement. So I just know I know this sport's going to light this area on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm so excited. Okay. So let's talk big vision then. Women's sports.
Yes.
What do you hope to see 10 years from now?
Oh, goodness.
What would success look like 10 years from now for women's sports?
That's a big question. I think I go right to infrastructure and like real infrastructure. So like arenas, like purpose-built arenas for women's sports everywhere.
Yeah, I'm with you.
From a media standpoint, that the coverage of media, like it's gotten better. It's now at 15%, but it should be at 50-50 or 60-40.
We're doing our best to help tell those stories and elevate that percentage.
So, more news coverage that is, everyday news coverage. I think we're starting to see it already where you see little boys wearing jerseys with girls' names on the back.
My little boys.
So I think the next generation, it will not be unnatural for them. Like it won't even be a question.
Yes.
That's what I'm most excited about because that's the accelerant right there.
Yep.
Like we are normalizing women's sports, and that is that's going to, that's what 10 years will look like from now is just this of course.
Yep.
We're not saying women's sports anymore. We're saying, our team name, and people know it's women's sports without having to say the W.
I love that so much. Okay, you heard it here. 10 years from now, we are normalizing women's sports being the standard. From Stephanie Martin. I love it so much. So before I let you go, I have a couple of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So we're just going to hit you with it. 5.
Okay.
I said a couple.
Okay.
5 is what I meant by a couple. One word that defines your leadership style.
Calm.
A moment that changed your career.
I think making the decision to take the interview for the America's Cup, which had me flying to Paris for a 48-hour interview, and that set my trajectory going down the sports pathway, and I haven't looked back.
Wow. Thank you so much, Paris. Best advice you've received?
encouragement to share my own voice. I think I grew up a very shy person, and I would be sitting in meetings wanting to speak and not trusting myself to speak. So and I try to encourage everybody to have the same feeling, is like,
Yeah.
own your voice. Like, you know in your gut, so share it.
I'm with you on that one. A risk that paid off.
Being willing to be open to opportunity and willing to take the jump.
Something you're still learning.
Learning to be who I am, like learning to put myself first, learning to how to also build my own boundaries. I am not strong at that. Like, I could work all day long, and that's not a good thing. So I don't think balance is achievable, but learning harmony is a good thing.
Learn your harmony. I love that. I like thinking about it like that. You're helping build the future of volleyball and women's sports more broadly. When you think about the next generation of athletes, what do you hope they get to experience that wasn't available before? And we'll close it with that.
Probably access is such a big thing.
Yeah.
I think so little people have access. And so how are we creating real opportunity for people? I think that's one that is a universal hard thing to change. But if we could crack open the doors in more places for people, sport changes lives. Like, being involved in sport changes lives. I mean, we know 93% of women at the C-suite played sports.
Yep.
How do we enable more young girls to play sports?
Yep. Stephanie, thank you so much for running it back with us and helping us really play it forward. Women's sports is where we knew it always could be, but there is still so much more to do. And with your support and with the work that you're doing and the work that we're going to do together, I know that we're going to continue to carry it forward in a way where we get to, as you say, lift all boats.
Yes. Well, thank you for being part of it.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
It requires a lot of people invested in it, and your investment in helping us to build it together is gonna really make it sing. So thank you for being part of it.
Woo, of course. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.